Do your stories feel a little bit boring? If I'm honest, really honest, are they a bit boring? Do you hate reading through your writing because they're just yawn inducing? Okay. The chances are you're missing out on one key ingredient. One key ingredient. And that ingredient is conflict. Bit dramatic, okay? That key ingredient is conflict. And in this video, I'm going to show you 3 types of conflict that every 11 plus creative writing story needs to get those high marks and to keep the examiners, the teachers gripped and hooked right from the beginning. And then also, if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm actually going to give you an extra bonus tip on how to add conflict to any story. So let's begin. Tip number 1 is to know what conflict is. Okay, so what exactly is conflict in creative writing? Conflict is basically a problem or a challenge in the story. If you don't have it, there's nothing for your character to overcome. The story just feels flat. So what exactly are you writing about? How amazing everything is and so on. I'm not saying you can't have a story that has a feel-good factor and all of that. But in order to give you something to write about, to give you something to try and solve for the reader, and to give the character something to do, conflict is like the caramel in my latte, okay? It is the fizz in your pop. It is the oxygen your story needs to breathe. I'll give you an example. Here's an example of no conflict. Jack went to the shop to milk. No one cares. It's not intriguing to the reader. Now, I'll give you a rewritten one with conflict. Jack was out of milk, but the only shop left open was deep in the woods. It was getting dark. We've already created a problem. Your reader already knows the challenge that Jack is facing. And that's just one sentence. Look at what conflict has done already with just one sentence. So I'm going to give you an exercise. I want you to add a problem to the sentence that I'm about to give to you. You're going to pause the video, add a problem to it, and then come back for tip number 2 or step number 2. Nina wanted to go home, and I want you to finish that off with the addition of a problem. So before we carry on with this amazing video, please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so that you will get notified every time a new Geek School video goes up. Enjoy! Okay, we're now going to look at 3 types of conflict in step 2. 3 types of conflict. There are basically 3 main types of conflicts. That's why we're going through the 3. Either the character versus the character, where basically we have 2 characters who are in opposition. They could be arch enemies, they could have a different opinion or whatever. Hero versus a villain, that kind of classic character versus another character. Then we could have the character versus the environment. Oh my goodness, can you imagine the conflict in that? So what happens there is the character is basically struggling against their surroundings. Something like a storm, dangerous forest, a castle that's falling down, dilapidated or whatever, that kind of scenario. Then we can have the character versus themselves. Oh yes, themselves. That is basically inner struggles or tough choices that the character has to make. Choosing between right and wrong. In a simplistic world, we know that we should always choose right, but we don't know the backstory, the reason why a character may have such a terrible conflict. I'm going to give you an exercise, and I would like you to write one sentence for each of the 3 types of conflicts that I have just shared. So the character versus another character, the character versus the environment, or the character versus themselves. Okay. Pause the video, get to writing, and then come back for the bonus tip. Okay, so I did promise you a bonus tip right at the beginning. And this is that if you want to make the conflict even more exciting in your writing, if you want to make it even more exciting, you need to raise the stakes. What exactly happens if the character fails in this situation they find themselves in? That's what the stakes are. Low stakes example would be, if Tom doesn't get home, he'll miss dinner. Come on. There must be a cookie or a slice of bread that he could eat. He's not going to starve to death. But if we introduce high stakes in the story, if Tom doesn't get home, his family will leave without him. Oh my goodness. Have you watched Home Alone? We have seen what can happen if somebody gets left behind. So that's high stakes. So you can imagine the desperation for Tom. Imagine it's Christmas or something, or summer holidays, and Tom has gone out where nobody knows he's gone out, and literally the family are just about to get onto the coach or just something. And if he does not get there on time, he will be left wherever he is. You need to raise the stakes in a simple problem to make it really easy to write about, to make it engaging. So that's how you add conflict to an unforgettable story. Which conflict type are you going to try first? Share with me in the comments, people. Let me know what type of conflict you intend to use in your writing. And remember to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Like, come on, what are we waiting for? See you in the next video. Bye.